Bianchi, thank you very much for the presentation that you just gave, because it's perfect to where our customers want to be at some point. At the moment, our customers are more like with Excel sheets and not very connected with any sensors they have probably in their facilities. So HoloLens and stuff like that, that is exactly where we want to go. Whisky. Probably not the word that you, or the buzzword that you expect when you come to a conference like this one here. But I want to show you with this example, with this customer that we have, where we transformed and helped them to transform the company to get to one of those stages where Ms. Bianchi just talked about. I want to quickly give you an overview of who am I, what is Objectivity doing, and then jump into the topic of the case study with the Whisky IT infrastructure reconfiguration, and then given some kinds of impulse, like where this company wants to go in the future and what they want to do with that. So for myself, my name is Karsten Behrend. I am a business consultant for Objectivity and mostly consulting customers and understanding their process flow. So classical requirement engineering, I would say. I'm quite new to the company, so therefore I have my colleague with me, Daniel Thiemann, he's in the back there, to answer all your questions later on for the roundtable discussions. Objectivity is a company, we build bespoke software. So that means very customized software for customers who can't really reach where they want to go with, for example, SAP, because either it's too expensive for them, or it's maybe too complex, or maybe it doesn't just fit their need at this time. As you can see here, there's a lot of different solutions, languages, all around here. And this is exactly where our key knowledge lies. We have a lot of different people at Objectivity, so we are around about 1,000 persons at the moment, with the knowledge in all these different disciplines here. And what we see is in the market, there's a very broad market of customers and companies who have grown over the years, like 30 years, 40 years, and incrementally just build up their knowledge and their source code also for the software that they're using day to day. And we try to nurture this, to try to capture all the information that they have and bring them to the next level so that they can use smart sensors in the future, maybe have a singular database where they can work from so that there's a better communication also to the top management, better understanding of what they can do, for example, with better maintenance, for example, and stuff like that. We're also investing in very new technologies. For example, quantum computing is one of our latest babies, I would say, where we try to really understand how we can help customers with a big data need and supply, how they can, for example, get quicker to the results that they really want to achieve. Yeah, we have 7 offices at the moment worldwide, 32 years on the market at the moment, and yeah, as I said, more than 1,000 people in Objectivity. We have a lot of different customers from all different industries, of course. I mean, this is just a few of them that we can mention. I put downstairs machinery, aerospace, automotive. There are also customers of us, which we can't unfortunately mention. If you want to see more use cases, I mean, this is just one use case I'm going to demonstrate today. Just go to our website. You see we have also Rolls-Royce, for example, as our supplier. There's a ton of different use cases you can look at. Maybe some fits to your needs, and we can talk about them. Right, we have also a lot of partnerships. Yeah, I think I don't have to mention them all here. What is really important for us is people, integrity, excellence, and agility. And that's the one where we really think is Objectivity striving in, because for us, the people itself is the most important part. And what we always say is that we don't want to build a software that the companies in need to have us for the rest of their eternity, I would say. It's more like we want to have to give the customer a software that they can use in the future. But of course, they don't need us. So they can either way maintain it for themselves, go to some other supplier, whatever. But we really prefer to work with them, of course, for the long distance and not for the short run. Integrity, of course, you own the solution afterwards. Excellence, there's no big bang deployment at the end. So our strategy is mostly to have like incremental steps with the company in discussion with them together so that they can better understand what would be the next step, shorter approaches, so shorter results also, of course. And this comes also again with the agility itself to see how agile can we be to make it more and smarter in the future. All right, the case study, Whisky. So this is a company, it's a very prestigious company in Scotland. Yeah, we can't name the name itself, but it's one of the bigger ones, of course. They're in the market for around about 30 years now. And as you can imagine, over 30 years from a very small company, Excel was there, you know, they built up a lot of different Excel tools over time. So this is also what we saw. In the end, there was like 1,350 programs running somewhere in the company who someone then knows how to deal with those programs. That would also mean that the data is vastly over the company, so no really access to one data pool, so they can just get the data out of it and know what to do in the future, you know, build the strategy for the future. 1,000 lines of code, so there's a lot of different constraints and technical complexity that was involved. The constraint was change everything, but change nothing. So maybe you've heard this before. Companies are used to work with what they have. They don't really like change in the beginning. So the idea was here that we change everything that's behind. So all the backbone, whatever we had there, but the user interface at the front should stay the same in the beginning, so that workers can still continue doing their work as they used to do it. And then in the execution phase, of course, we wanted to have the modernization, of course, automated code conversion. Testing was a very important part here, because otherwise you tend to run into problems after a while when you can't test it all the time. This picture shows a little bit what was done in the beginning. So there's like all these different snippets here. They are codes that were somewhere written in the company. And as you can see, there was a focus on the more important ones that were used in the day-to-day business. But there was, of course, a lot around it that just cluttered the cloud, I would say, and was not very helpful to transform it to a more modernized system. So that's the reason we built one of those graphics here to understand a bit better what's the core process. And we focus in the beginning, of course, on the core processes that we can then utilize for the future. Over 100 prioritized business processes, unused programs were then, of course, eliminated at some point. The modernization approach was we're coming from the legacy systems, and then we go into two phases here. The first phase was we tried to build a new sublayer for this. So, for example, to have all the data stored at some point. But we are not touching the user interface here. So the UI EZ400, that's what it's called, is not touched. And that was very, very helpful for getting the acceptance in the company, because they could just can continue to use what they had. And then in the next phase, the second phase, it was much easier for us, of course, to understand what we can change. And then, of course, in the discussion with the customer together, we could say, okay, what about this? Look at this, maybe we can make it this, you know? Every department could build, for example, their own dashboards in the future, which makes it, of course, very convenient for them. Yeah. So this is like a very simple picture that I tried to build here. In the beginning, we had the existing code at the bottom here. And then, of course, we implemented a middle layer. And the middle layer was more or less the transition in between our new interface and the old interfaces and the old databases. And then from time to time, we were refactoring the code. So we didn't write everything completely new. Sometimes we just took the code that they already had and just structured a little bit new, maybe get rid of some other codes or implemented new codes that were in a different program, for example. And so we got from the old existing code with the old data to the new data design with the new data installed in there. And then we can go from time to time and then eliminate the middleware of it. So that was our approach for this customer here. And then in the end, they had, of course, the new data design with all the data that they used to use. It's very interesting to see that these are very specific touch points that we had with this customer. So it was not a generic one. You see, for example, HM revenue at the bottom here. This is very specific for alcohol and taxation in Scotland. So it's not something that you could just buy a software from stock. So therefore, they were somehow required to use something that was specifically built for them. And of course, we also built all the different things around it. Very interesting was, of course, the lab management system, so that they could take samples specifically for cask sampling, which is also not very common in the world, I would say, because there are not too many whiskey companies in the world. And that's, of course, a very big plus for bespoke software, customized software. So the outcome was an improved supportability, of course. That was also one of the factors I forgot to mention. The software that they used to use was written in a very old language. And yeah, when the language is very old, it's very hard to find experts that they can actually help fix problems, I would say. Yeah. And we had some people, luckily, that they could still read those languages and then help to transform it into the newer, more convenient languages. And of course, the positive engagement and the relationship between the business was very important for us. We are supporting them for, I think, now 25 years over time. So that's a very long time, and that shows exactly where we are with our customers. So we're really looking for customers to help them getting over a longer period of time. I'd like to show you a little impulse here. So this is not something that we executed yet. We are trying to get there. But the important thing is in the beginning, always build the confidence, of course, with the customer, and then show them what they can achieve in the future. And when you have this foundation that you're starting on, it makes things so much easier, of course, to introduce new sensors, new smart machines, new graphs, whatsoever. Everyone wants those. Exactly. And now in the second step, they can really use this robust foundation to build, for example, automated warehouses. So, for example, they are talking about I'm not sure if you've been to a whiskey distillery before, but at the moment they have just the casks like stacked on top of each other. They are looking for more like an oval-shaped stacking so that they can integrate then robots afterwards in this. You can use those robots also for automated sampling, so it makes it much more easier for them to have at least, for example, a large stock of samplings. That's the point with the alternative warehouse concepts here. Automated tracking throughout the whole facility, of course, is very interesting. It gives so much more possibilities to this customer now that they couldn't think of before, because it was just, two-fraction code, of course. Right, and with that, I'd like to finish with this slide here. So Objectivity, at the moment, we are 1,000 people. We just got integrated into Accenture, which now I think has 735,000 employees. So we are a smaller portion now of a bigger company. But it's very interesting because they only have like 500 people working in this area where we are focusing on and what's our specialty, so the technical point of view. So in there, we are the stronger one with 1,000 at least against 500. So I think we can at least give something to the greater picture. And of course, for our customers, it's awesome because they can participate from so much more. Yeah. Thank you for your attention. If you have questions, we're here today, later for the roundtable or also outside at our booth. Thank you.
So.